Hello, everyone. Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Thank you.
Yes, you are audible.
Hello. Myself, Jibran Qadri, and I'm a co-founder of the Aligarh Renaissance. And I would like to express my heartfelt thank you for all the participants from all around the world. I extend a warm welcome to everyone joining us today for the international webinar, Mitigating Flooding in the Era of Climate Change. First of all, I would like to brief you about us, who we are. The Aligarh Renaissance is a dynamic, youth-oriented non-profit organization founded in 2014 and officially registered in 2017, specifically in India. Inspired by the vision of Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, the founder of Aligarh Muslim University, our organization is dedicated to fostering positive changes and development. With the global footprint, the Aligarh Renaissance is a distinguished NGO boasting 8 international chapters in the USA, Netherlands, Canada, Italy, Qatar, UAE, and now in Saudi Arabia as well. In India, we have a strong presence in important districts like Aligarh, Agra, and capital of India, New Delhi. Encompassing 65 districts with robust membership of more than 800 dedicated members registered under the Society of Registration Act of Government of India. The Aligarh Renaissance is recognized by several esteemed government bodies of India, including Planning Commission of India, which is now known as Niti Aayog, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Tribal Affairs, and the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Our commitment to social upliftment and education advancement continue to drive our initiative as we strive to make the global impact. The Aligarh Renaissance has been a beacon of positive change and development since its inception, dedicated to fostering the vision and philosophy of Syed Ahmad Khan, the founder of Aligarh Muslim University. The organization focused on several key areas. The Aligarh Renaissance is dedicated to fostering education, social justice, and environmental sustainability. The organization provides scholarships, organizes education workshops, supports marginalized communities, and empowers women through vocational training. We conduct healthcare camps, raise mental health awareness, and promote environmental sustainability through various drives like plantations and cleanliness campaign. Additionally, the NGO focuses on disaster management by offering flood relief and preparedness training. And last but not least, it nurtures youth development through the leadership program and cultural activities. For these activities and initiatives, the Aligarh Renaissance continues to make a significant impact on society, empowering individuals and communities to achieve sustainable development and improve their quality of life. I once again thank you all for this important conversation on flood mitigation and climate change. Now, I would like to brief you about the motivation of the present seminar. As we all know that there is a sharp rise of cases of flooding events in the world, from recent event of flooding in UAE to a flash flood in Saudi Arabia, challenging case of Emilia Romagna, and in other part of Eastern Europe, mass flood event in Pakistan, while extreme case of flooding from different states of India like Bihar, Bengal, Kerala, and list is endless if we count such event from Southeast Asia. The purpose of this international webinar is to bring international community together to explore and discuss strategies for mitigating flooding in the era of climate change. By uniting experts, stakeholders, and researchers, and concerned citizens as well, we aim to share knowledge, innovative solutions, and best practices in building a resilience and to protect communities from increasing threat of flooding due to climate change, which is likely to be increased in the future. Now I would like to introduce our eminent speaker and guest today. We are honored to welcome our distinguished chief guest and speaker, Dr. Andreas Klippe, known in the field as Dr. Flood. Dr. Klippe is a highly respected German engineer, a leading expert in flood management, a prolific author, and a visionary founder and CEO of Flood Control Asia. With career spanning several decades, Dr. Klippe has dedicated his life to mitigating the impact of flooding through innovative engineering solutions and comprehensive disaster management studies. His work has revolutionized the flood control approaches and greatly enhanced the safety and resilience of the community worldwide. Dr. Klippe's extensive experience and pioneering research have earned him international acclaim and various accolades. He has written several influential books on flood management, sharing his deep knowledge and practical solutions with the professional and policymakers globally. As the founder and CEO of Flood Control Asia, Dr. Klippe has led numerous successful projects implementing cutting-edge flood control measures that have safeguarded countless lives and properties. After Dr. Kleppe's presentation, we will open the floor for question and answer session. Please feel free to write your question and share your curiosities in the chat box throughout the presentation. We are open to all our participants to have a dynamic conversation if they want to ask any question to Dr. Klippe. We look forward to an engaging discussion following Dr. Klippe's talk. Today, we have the privilege of hearing from Dr. Klippe, who will share his invaluable insights and experiences. His presentation promised to provide us with a deeper understanding of the challenges posed by climate change and flooding, as well as innovative strategies for building a more resilient future. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Andreas Klippe. Now it is my great pleasure to invite Dr. Andreas Klippe to begin his presentation. Dr. Klippe, we are eagerly looking forward to your insights and expertise on the flood management and innovative strategies for a resilient future. The platform is all yours. Please come, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gibran Quadri. I hope I pronounce your name right.
You're right, sir.
Thank you very much for this very, very kind introduction. I heard my name so often, and I only hope, and I'm sure and I'm convinced that I can give the answers to all these problems and the questions you mentioned already. So thank you very, very much. And I also want to thank Asfar Ali Khan, who has organized this meeting and prepared the invitation. And he is the founder of one of these chapters from the Aligarh Renaissance. I also hope I pronounce it right. So yeah, welcome to everybody. So I just have to put everybody on gallery. I am in Germany right now, and I see a big monitor in front of me with, I think we are more than 60 people, 61 participants, and it would be a great pleasure, you know, when I come to seminar rooms and before, long ago in a technical university, I could always see the students and the high-ranking managers and governmental representatives. So if you have a camera, please do me the favor and turn it on that I don't speak to a black hole, because the only person I see is Dr. Gibran. and nobody, there's Param Soti Goebel from Germany, by the way. He is close to Frankfurt, from Wiesbaden. He is a business expert for the Malaysian business and also expert for doing business in Asia. So thank you very much. And if the others have a camera, please don't hesitate, because that gives a good feeling to the speaker that I'm not speaking in front of black holes and like mass and carpets are some people. I think that is Toshi Takeyoshi from Japan. Toshi-san, welcome for joining. So Tokyo is there, Wiesbaden is there. I hope I just asked you, everybody, perhaps you can write in the chat for all those who, I think you are all familiar with the Zoom meeting. Can you please give me a yes or a no? Do you hear me well? So we check my audio first. Can you just type it in the chat that I see? I hope many yes, that we check the microphone. There's a yes. Okay, I think it is okay. If there is one no, then please check your volume of your computer. Your voice is clear, says Ayesa. Okay, thank you very much. Spelia. I always look a little bit to the side because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 monitors here around me in my studio. That's why sometimes you see me looking a little bit to the side. Okay, that's good. And my video, is it also clear for you? I should be on Spotlight. If that doesn't work, you can switch between the gallery view and, of course, the speaker's view. That gives you the opportunity to see my presentation in a while clear and with big letters. Okay, yes. Everything is perfect, right? Excited. I'm also excited about it. Fazal Imam, I also greet you. One more with the video that makes it. Mohammed is also there. Danasimi, welcome. So yes, I said already I'm in Germany, and I will talk about mitigating flooding in the era of climate change. So we have now, I think, 45 minutes, 1 hour for the whole event, more or less. I'm curious because we are 66 people together. Can you just type in the chat again, from which country or city are you coming? I'm curious. So I start, I'm from Germany, and the organizer, I think, is sitting in Qatar. So let's see who is coming from India. I think India will make it. I have a feeling that India will make it. To India, Qatar, India, from India, Oman. That is good. Oman, India. Oh, that is so fast. I had a Kuwait, Cameroon. So Africa is there. Great. Cameroon, I always think about the great football team they have. Philippines, Stephanie Mendoza. Yes, India, Philippines, India. And I think Toshi-san, of course, is from Japan. So that's pretty good. So it's a very international event. And India again. Okay, my dear friend from India, you all make it. And by far, it's not a competition. Huh? So yeah, and AJ from the Philippines. Okay, good. So I think that gave some other participants the chance to join. I just want to start now and yeah, make myself, where's my other monitor? I will reduce a little bit my size. And as I've said, we talk about mitigating flooding in the era of climate change, strategy for resilient future. And please, to the organizers, can you mute the other people? There is a microphone open somewhere. I still hear some background noises from somebody. To our organizers, please, or to all participants, can you please do me the favor, mute your phone? Yes, thank you very much. Okay. The reality of climate change is what? That is really the problem. And I was thinking, what is my first chart? And climate change is putting the world at a risk. Is climate change putting the world at a risk? Question mark. That is how I always started. And nowadays, I have to change the exclamation mark or replace it by 3 exclamation marks. Sorry, the question mark. There's a small mistake here, but you can read it. Climate change is putting the world at the risk. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. And while I'm saying that, we have seen during the last days and weeks several terrible storms with heavy rain. 2 days ago, there was hail for the people in India. Okay, up in the mountains, you also have snow. You know what rain is, but the people in the Philippines don't know what hail is. And these icy small tennis ball, big sometimes parts of ice. And that is what we have seen together with rain. And that made the public sewer overflow. So the result was flooding in the streets in Germany. So where is it coming from? The sea level is one of the reasons. And we have observed during the last years, I must do it a little bit like that, 1.9 degrees temperature increase of of the average temperature of the oceans. And you might say, okay, 1.9 degree for all those in Europe at the Atlantic shoreline, they will like it because then it's better for swimming. But it is not good at all because there is a lot of thermal energy inside and inside the ocean, and that leads to evaporation. So we have more evaporation, and that means at the end of the day, the water will move from the ocean to the clouds. And that is perhaps for all those who have children, you remember the day when your son or your daughter asked you, Mama, Papa, where is this rain coming from? And then you probably ask, oh, it's coming from the clouds. But there is no rain machine in the clouds. So the clouds take the water from the oceans, and the oceans move with the wind to the continents. They make landfall, and that is where we see all these storms, and then it starts to rain. And at the end of the day, the rainwater makes landfall, and that brings the cities to a situation like what you can see on this picture: heavy rain. And yeah, perhaps you did well because you took your umbrella this morning when you left the house. For all others, they hope that there is no flooding in the street. So that's the situation. We have more rainwater because of the increase of the average temperature of the oceans by 1.9 degrees. That is why there is more rain. But that is not the only reason. There's another reason, and that is related to the jet streams. So our wind system on this planet depends on the polar jet stream and the subtropical jet stream at the northern hemisphere, and similar at the southern hemisphere. And unfortunately, these winds are slowing down. That means it happens that the bad weather, these clouds, are remaining over your area for a longer time. And that leads to long-lasting rainfall, and that is too much for most of the public sewers, if you had a public sewer, because I know the people in Kuwait and in Oman and in Qatar and in the Emirates and Saudi Arabia, they don't have, at least not enough. By the way, also in Metro Manila, this public sewer is not enough, because there is another reason. I will mention that in a moment. So some people also tell me and say, Andreas, but that is not true what you say, because we have had 3 months of hot weather, almost 50 degrees. There was no rainfall. In Germany, we don't have 50 degrees, but we had 40 degrees several days, several weeks last year. In France as well, in Spain as well, in Portugal, south of Germany, in Greece and Turkey. And the reason is the same. The jet stream is not moving as fast as before, and that leads to a situation where the good weather or the bad weather, depends what you how you call it, stays longer. So, but after every long-lasting hot period, there will be a long-lasting wet period. And the result are these storms. And now you can say, okay, I don't believe in this climate change, like this this president from the US and from Brazil and some other in the world. They don't believe what all the scientists have already proven since a long time. And it doesn't play any role. It is only important what you observe. And these storms are not blown away. And sometimes, yeah, they look like that from the universe. And, you know, in Southeast Asia, they call it typhoon. And in the Caribbean Sea, they call it hurricanes. And at the coastline of Oman, they call it cyclones. And then I'm always asking, what is the difference about all these storms? Are they stronger or weaker? No, it is exactly the same thing. And unfortunately, in Germany, we don't have a word for that. We only call it bad weather. But soon we also need to invent a word for this situation of heavy, heavy storms. So these storms stay over a location. They build a block in a way. And that leads to more rain per hour falls to Earth, and for longer time. And as you can see, a year worth of rain plunges normally dry Dubai underwater. And that was Wednesday, April 17, because on April 16 there was a terrible flood in Dubai. Yeah, the next picture shows at least 14 killed as fierce storms and severe flooding lashed southern Europe. That was from September 7, 2023. Beijing hit by heaviest rain in 140 years as typhoons batter Eastern Asia from August 2, 2023. And the pictures are all the same at the end of the way. Oh, sorry, that was a highlighted headline. And it looks like that. The water load per square meter surpasses the normal level. I mentioned some of the reasons. And that is how it looks like in the streets. And it looks like that in Mumbai. It looks like that in Beijing, in New York, in San Francisco, in Muscat, in Oman, in Kuwait City, in Frankfurt, in Germany, in Paris, and so on and so forth, in London, etc. So what is the reason? One reason is that we don't take care about the cleanliness of our doors, of our sewage system. And very often it looks like that. At first, it's a little bit funny, but at the end of the day, it is not funny at all, because the best technology doesn't work if it is not maintained. And these public sewers canals cannot carry the water load anymore. How do you want to protect a city like this one, like this one, from the danger of heavy rain and flooding? That is really, really complicated and is almost impossible, because you have every square meter, there's a building or a street, a pavement, a ramp leading to a basement parking, and so on and so forth. So that is quite difficult. And the result is a flooding in Germany, Frankfurt. That is Param Goebel, who is here, my friend from Wiesbaden, who he knows very well this area there next to the main river at the left side of the picture. And behind these older buildings, you can see the three skyscrapers in Frankfurt. We have, I think, 20 or something, or 25, not compared to the photo from before. But the river was overflowing, and Frankfurt has a good canal system, but not good enough. The same in the torrential rain has pummeled also parts in Africa in October 21, 2019. Same city, I think it's Brooklyn Station or Sunset Station in New York, in the US. And we know the same pictures from Sydney and from Melbourne in Australia. So I'm running around the world. That was America, that was Africa, and what was the other one? Africa, Australia, exactly, and Europe. And in Southeast Asia, East Asia, Southeast Asia, South Asia, it is similar. Whether it is South Korea for East Asia, or where we recently have been, and we were installing a flood barrier system over there in Seoul, or Singapore, or India for East Asia. So similar pictures. And last but not least, because the meeting today, the Zoom meeting, was organized from Qatar in the Middle East. So we can see these floods in all these GCC countries. So GCC stands for Gulf Cooperation Council, and that is the organization between Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. And the pictures look all the same. And at the end, one thing is in common: that is a disaster for everybody, as you can see very well at the lower middle picture from Saudi Arabia. So, that is the same thing again. So take note, expect that every flooding incident is worse than the previous one. Why do I say that? Because the pictures, the images from before, are all the same year after year. It is not always, it doesn't happen always at the same location, but at other locations. And last week it happened in the south, and 2-3 weeks ago, again, it happened in the south and south west of Germany. So And everybody always says, oh, that is the worst flooding. And then until the next time, and then the same people say, oh, that was the worst flooding. Excuse me, how can it be the worst if that was already the worst before? There's only one worst. And that shows to you that these flooding incidents become worse and worse. And expect that there is more flooding in the future, especially with the impact of climate change. So what have we done to manage flooding? I think that is a question what most of you are interested in. Misconceptions and ineffective solutions. I show you one picture, the good old practice, they call it. I don't call it good old practice, it's an old practice. And with worsening typhoons and flooding, do you consider traditional flood solutions like sandbags effective? If I would make a, I see Param Soti-Göbel already denying that. Of course not, because at the end, it always looks like that. At the beginning, when the sun is shining, you staple the sandbags like bags of rice. And when the wind and the storm comes after 1, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, a short time, everything ends up in a big and huge disaster. Sandbags, for me, are rubbish. If you rely on sandbags, I ask you one question. Imagine you stay at home in your house, and imagine you don't live in a condominium at the 57th floor somewhere in Beijing or Tokyo. You live in a, let's assume, in a small house somewhere at ground floor level. Would you let your 2-year-old son or your baby, and together with your wife or your husband and your grandmother, who cannot walk anymore very well because she is too old, would you let them sit behind the door of the building, and the only protection what you do are some sandbags? Would you do that? Answer this question. And then you know the answer already. But why do you want to protect a 5-star hotel visit? Or why do you want to protect the subway, the metro, or the warehouse of the company where you work for? You would never do that normally. So because you don't do it for your family. And wooden planks, sometimes I found this picture, that's pretty good. So these wooden planks, and we saw one wooden plank separation. They really wanted to protect I think the left area from the right area. So, but what you can see is the water level. There's one arrow is missing. The water level is the same. It's equal at the left and the right side. So it is completely useless what you do. So there's still one microphone is still open. Can you please, organizer, please close it, or by coincidence, whatever happens sometimes, it's perhaps a ghost from the universe. So the question is, are these measures effective? I want to give you an answer because we answered it already. I saw Param Soti-Göbel already saying no, it's not. So in Germany, that is not. Depending, in some cultures it is yes. No, we mean no. So let me spend a short word about Doha Education City in Qatar. I found these remarkable words of Her Highness Sheikha Moza bint Nasser. She is the mother of the emir, and she said these words: we believe that things happen by design and not in an arbitrary way. And we believe it is our duty to make things happen. And I found it extraordinary because I'm an engineer. And for engineers, normally political leaders don't tell like that. And why she is saying that? Because at the same time she has a vision to transform Doha Education City, and you know that is already the name of the city. It's a part of Doha, and for all football or soccer fans and supporters during the FIFA World Cup was it last year? No, 2 years ago in Doha, in Qatar. there was one stadium also a Doha Education City. And where Asfar Ali Khan is located in Lusail, they also had, of course, their Lusail Stadium. I don't remember the correct name, but I think it was something with Lusail. No? Lusail Stadium, oh, thank you. So Doha Education City, and Her Highness Sheikh Moza wanted to make Doha Education City a hub for the Arab students, if not for the worldwide students. So she wanted to teach these young people and teach him engineering, science, a good behavior, well-doing. So all positive properties. Yeah, what do you need for students to become, to get the diploma at the end of the day? You need, of course, professors. So you need the best professors you can get from the whole world to attract them to come to Qatar, to Doha Education City. And what do you need for these professors? You need universities. And I have read that Dr. Gibran Quadri is also in cooperation with the Texas A&M University, TAMU University. And one of the universities of one branch is also located in Qatar, in Doha. And the Qatar National Convention Center, the Qatar National Library, and the Liberal Arts and Science Building. And to be honest, for me, it is breathtaking. So there are beautiful cities in the world, Las Vegas, New York, Paris, of course, yes, and Dubai. But when I go to Doha, I'm always amazed about the architectural design, because every university has its own style, like this Hamad bin Khalifa University, the Northwestern University, the Sirufi Art Carousel from the EMIR, the Qatar Academy. Why do I mention these buildings? There's a reason, and let me finish before I answer to it. I hope you are curious to know what happened with them. It's the Qatar National Convention Center, and is that not breathtaking? I only have a few cameras here, but normally I always ask, who thinks that is breathtaking and that is really outstanding architecture? Yeah, I see one hand. Okay, and Vaka Marium also, welcome. You also joined. That is always more comfortable for the speaker to see the cameras. If not, you feel alone. But I'm used to speak to my camera. So, and the Qatar Foundation headquarters. Qatar Foundation is, I think the world latest, the world biggest NGO, and is taking care about Doha Education City. But then came the unexpected. In 2018, in October, there was a terrible flooding, and this flooding destroyed the city, destroyed these beautiful universities, the Texas University, the I can just show it again. The Northwestern University was terribly hit by it, and also the other institutions like the Qatar National Library and the Qatar Academic School. So the airport as well. So the decision maker I mentioned already is Qatar Foundation, and they had a real problem, because to save Doha Education City and to prevent the same event from happening again, the Qatar Foundation was asked to find a solution, so a flood protection solution, to make Her Highness Sheikha Moza's dream come true. Because would you send, as parents, your kids to such a university? Would you spend so much money for the tuition fee if the buildings are flooded and the best professors don't want to go there anymore because it's always stinky and smelly and moist is everywhere? Of course not. You go to another university in another country. So that is why they needed to get a solution. So, and it should be a long-term solution. What Her Highness Sheikha Moza has said, we believe in design, not in arbitrary solutions. And can you please mute the microphones? There's a terrible noise from somebody. To the organizers, can you please mute everybody except me? I just wait a moment. Okay, now it's gone. All right. So thank you very much. the Doha Education City site development plan, that was the first image I got. So it's not a big secret because you can grab it from Google Earth. And this round building is exactly this carousel that should be protected. And the red line shows the line of protection. And it should be done with these mobile flood barriers, the Inero mobile flood barriers from Sweden with this blue polyethylene membrane, but these are technical details. Huh? So the question is, how do you protect this building? And the building is round and it looks like that, the Zero Phi Al Art carousel. And when we were in touch with the authorities, and you have seen all these beautiful universities and these beautiful buildings, they told us to start with this building. And then I asked the people, the authorities, why shall we start with an empty building? There is no value. They said, no, there is a value. Dr. Klippe, it is the most important building for the Emir of Qatar. I said, why? I don't see anything inside. It looks empty. Okay, there is some pictures are at the left side and there are some lights at the top, but we don't talk about the lights. It's an empty building. Is it a theater or what is it? They said, no, the inside of the building looks like that before the start of an art performance. And there are elements hidden in the basement of this building. And they will be brought up like this beautiful car. Isn't that nice? It looks like the 30s with Al Capone in Chicago are alive again when you see this beautiful car. And that is a loan from Sheikh Faisal bin Qasim Al Thani Museum, displayed on a rotating platform around the artwork. So that is one thing, how it looks like. Some other cars are also coming, but I don't want to show you all the cars today. I will also show you the other elements like these glass horses. So all these elements will be brought up, and that is done by using a hydraulic system. And you can also see another hydraulic system. That is an AC/DC guitarist Angus Young playing his popular solo. I think the older people amongst us will know him. I saw him in person, by the way, long ago. And that is the same mechanism. It's an hydraulic system bringing the art up to the sky that the audience can see it. And after the event, you lower everything and you come back to normal. So, and this museum has a value inside. And for flood protection, it is always a question, how much do you want to protect? What is the value? What is the value of your private family at home? But here we talk about lives. It is not about money. But when you talk about a 5-star hotel or a hotel, what is the value of a hotel? Is it the carpet in the lobby? Or is it the quantity of beds they have? What is the value? But you can measure it. So in this case, we can see the flying man suspended bronze sculpture of Abbas ibn Firnas. Abbas ibn Firnas lived from 810 to, I have to read it, 887. And he was reported to have experimented with unpowered flight. So Ibn Firnas made the first attempt with a glider flight. And he has made one of the earliest recorded attempts of flights in the 9th century. And he lived in Cordoba, that is now known as Spain. That was a time when the Arabs were ruling in Spain, a very good period there and very rich also for science. So this bronze sculpture is shown in this carousel. Another one is these 5 crystal glass horses from Murano glass, coming in blue, red, green, amber, and white. And Murano glass is a popular glass manufacturer from Italy. They are in the where is it? North of Venice in Italy. Venice, you probably know very well. This city, this swimming city. And the glassware is very popular. And a small glass only, for your table, I just checked in the internet, the value is already $2,000. So now can you imagine how expensive this glass horse is, and they have 5 of them. So and last but not least, the bronze replica of Leonardo da Vinci's flying machine. And Leonardo da Vinci lived almost 600 years later than Abbas ibn Firnas, and both of them were scientists and polymaths. And Leonardo da Vinci in the high Renaissance, very active as a painter. And yeah, what is the most popular? What is the most popular artwork of Leonardo da Vinci? What we normally know? Does anybody know it? So you can type it there in the chat. It is, of course, the Mona Lisa. Yeah, and Vatican City Mona Lisa painting. Yeah, Adnan Mustafa was right. So it's the Mona Lisa. So this artwork is hidden in this carousel, and of course the Emir of Qatar and Qatar Foundation want to protect the premises, the building, to avoid that you shovel the mud out onto the street after heavy rainfall. And sometimes the rain is more the rain is less dangerous than the mud when mud comes with rain, and very often it comes with the rain, depending on the location where you are, where you live. Yeah, but that is really the worst, and that is what has to be avoided. What did we do? We installed RS stands for the company I've created together with my co-founder, the beautiful Maria Fatima. That's Fate's phone, but I don't see her. She is also hiding today. Yeah, that stands for the company Flood Control Asia RS Corporation. And the engineers installed these Inero, the Swedish Inero mobile flood barriers in Qatar in 2019 around this carousel building. So more or less 1,200 meters were installed. 200 meters, not 1,200. 200 in total, more than 1 kilometer. And that is how it looks like. Yeah, for all those who want to know how technically it can be managed. So some legs, we call it legs, but with a patented system that the legs, the system is not sliding away, is not moved away by wind and by water. And that protects the building almost 100%, because this blue membrane avoids that water can creep underneath the installation, so you are flood protected immediately. A huge advantage, you don't need any civil works for it. You can install these barriers even over curbstones, or on gravel, on sand, even in water already, and on grassland. So that is important, for instance, for Switzerland. So there are some, but I don't have this image here. So even in the forest areas, you can use it. And yeah, with Inero, without Inero, without protection at the left side, and with at the right side. So they are now flood protected. These are some pictures how you can install these so-called demountable flood barriers. So they are always attached to the facade, not to the facade, to the building. And at the first time, the architect and the engineers, they told me, Andreas, you cannot drill into our building. It's so beautiful. We designed everything. You will destroy it. Can you attach the side channels at our facade? What you can see at the right side, at the middle upper photo, these brown plates, or this facade. And then it's very easy. If you now think about rainwater and flooding, what will the water do? Will the water say, oh, there's a beautiful facade. I will not go into this building because the facade is so beautiful. I will go to another building. Or will it just flow behind the facade? Because there is a gap. You can see that the guy in yellow in the upper photo is kneeing. There is a gap between the facade and the concrete wall. So that is enough for all water to get into the building. And finally, they accepted it. So at the right upper photo, you can see there's a kind of side channel attached to the building, and permanently attached and sealed. And then you finally install these so-called aluminium flat barriers, demountable flat barriers. They have a horizontal and vertical sealing system that it makes it watertight. Yeah, that's our team. Andy Boy at the right lower side. There's another Andy in our company, Felix Bonifacio, Andy Boy. He was one of the team leaders over there. And the result is now the Qatar National Convention Center parking house is fully protected with these barriers. And doesn't it look beautiful? So at the end, the engineers and architects, they were amazed about, first they were afraid, oh, you will destroy the design. But to be honest, what will destroy more? A side channel that is attached to a wall, like a letterbox or a lamp or an electric cable, or will it be the flood with all the mud? I think the answer is clear. The Qatar National Convention Center parking house, that is not the parking house, that is a Qatar academic school in the middle. The parking house was below. The Qatar National Convention Center is protected similar to this carousel building, what I have shown to you. Think about the Mona Lisa and the Leonardo da Vinci's flying machine. So more than 750 meters, it was more than 1 kilometer. And yeah, here's the Qatar Academy, and of course, certified flood protected. Yes. The guys from Züblin Strabag, they were creating this carousel. We just visited them recently in Qatar. And in the middle, you see the woman, the beautiful Maria Fatima Ozi. She is my co-founder. We created the company together in 2014. The idea was born in 2012 together with Rainer Stepanek. Yeah. I made a visit on this November 2023 with my friend, the engineer Ghazi Al-Rashid, showing him around and inspecting it. And we found some small mistakes in and so I told them already, the authorities, oh, never compromise safety with poor quality in maintenance. Yeah, so it is important that the maintenance will be done and the people are trained to do it in a correct way, that your investment will pay off. Bess Aligarh, homeowner, says, for me, it always speaks of how professional the people will handle the particular product and the service that they offer. And we felt that it's flood barriers, that it's very credible since it's German technology. Why do I show that? Of course, it's very kind that when somebody, homeowner in the Philippines from Quezon City is telling like that, but it is a service as well. So consider flood protection as like compared to you construct a house. You also don't start buying things. You consult an architect and then you make a plan and then you establish a budget and so on and so forth. Flood protection is similar to it. It is not what is the price per square meter to protect an entrance? So Qatar Academy, I showed it already, is flood protection. Yeah, and I was very honored that Salim Al-Jafai, the Director of Facilities and Infrastructure and City Operations of Qatar Foundation, told me last December when I was there, Dr. Klippe, your flood barriers did an amazing job to protect our buildings in Doha Education City. I was speechless because I did not know were they satisfied or not. And then I told to Salim Al-Jafai, I said, can you please repeat it? It is so sweet for my ears. I don't hear that every day. So it's of course doing very well. And once again, it underlines that it is not only square meters and the metal sheet, and then you drill a hole into a wall and you attach it. No, it's much more. It's a lot of engineering. That is where the German engineers stay for. And yes, I'm a German engineer. So innovative smart for flood control solutions. I just show you around because we are run out of time already. I show you the different 14 flood expert products. I also described that in my book that is about flood protection. By the way, for all those who know me now, these were my real hairs when I was a young boy, blonde hairs. So these are the barriers, all the different types of barriers. So we can see demountable flood barriers, doors, is a narrow one, mobile one, doors, gates, automatic systems, glass barriers, and so on and so forth. So how can you group it? Because it is not so important that you know every single detail. You can remember 4 different groups. Please, can you please mute the microphones once again, organizers? Can you please mute everybody? There are still microphones open. It's a little bit disturbing. So there are 4 categories. Category 1, these are the portable systems, like this demountable flood barrier, what you have seen at the parking house of the Qatar National Convention Center, or the mobile flood barrier with a blue membrane. These are portable systems. You install them when you need them. And for category door, there are flood doors and flood gates. It's by swinging, with doorstep or without. And category 3, automatic systems, flipping up systems. At the upper side, you can see this Anham automatic flip-up flood barrier from Germany. It's a famous and perfect flood barrier that works without electricity. Later, if we still have time, I can show you a small video about that. You will be amazed about it. And glass walls, of course, for touristic views, for touristic spots. So manually operated ones, that is a summary in another way. You need manpower for it, and for the other one, for the automatically operated ones, you can do that automatically with water sensors or through a remote control station. However, you can also turn a key. That is also possible, and at the end, sometimes it's more reliable, more safe, because you need less backup systems. So you can see at the right upper side, there's a drop-down system, a raising up, self-rising flood barrier. See in the middle at the bottom with a green arrow, this Anham automatic flip-up flood barrier. You can drive with a fully loaded truck on it. Isn't that amazing? So it's really astonishing. You can drive with a truck on it. That is why it is installed more than 3,000 times in industry already. And by the way, these barriers, the flip-up flood barrier and the drop-down barrier, are widely used for basement parkings, for instance. So just one of the last slides I want to share with you. The smart flood protection methods. So the first thing what you need to make a city, a municipality flood-free are pipes, public sewer. So these are some images from the Kra pipes. Kra pipes is also a German product, but they're made by plastic compared to these concrete ones. You certainly have seen it in your city where when there is a construction ongoing, these 1 meter wide elements for the public sewer from time to time. That comes in 1 meter sections, I think more or less 1 meter. But these ones can be, I think, up to 12 meters. So the maximum length of a big truck. And the advantage, you can install it much faster. Anyway, that's not what I want to highlight. I want to highlight that you need a public sewer or you need a drainage. And number 2 is, if that is not enough, a kind of underground water storage system where you can store the water. And number 3, if that is still not enough and the area is still flooded and you want to become independent, you use flood barriers for your house, for your belongings. You can protect the house, the building at the door and window side, or you protect it from the street side. So these are the 3 elements. There are a little bit more, like backflow walls, etc., but these are the most important ones. The pipes, underground water tanks, and the amount of flood barriers. Now let me ask the question, are we prepared for the next flood? Will you allow yourself to get flooded again? That is a question what you have to ask yourself. And don't rely on these people who tell you, next time, during the next 10 years, it will not rain anymore in my area, because we have seen the worst rainfall last year. Don't believe that. or would you gamble with the life of your family, or with the life of your employees, or with the property paid by the taxpayers or paid by your company? If the company gets flooded, you will lose your job because the company cannot operate anymore. So climate change, and now I have to take myself out. If not, you see me twice. I don't have a twin. So climate change is inevitable, and we must learn to adapt and live with its effects. We need to change our perspective on flood mitigation. And I said it several times today, don't look back. The statistics from yesterday don't help you today. Instead, focus on the future, change your ways today. So architect Gemma Sarusemania from the south of the Philippines in Cagayan de Oro said one time, the materials are very rigid and heavy duty. I'm happy to have this product in one of my clients' buildings. That was a hotel. Yeah. Rigidity and heavy duty is important. Also for Mr. Kiano, he's a homeowner and businessman. He said, I think when a storm or typhoon comes, we will not be dependent on others to clean the drainage outside. Because why did he go for these barriers in front of his hands? You can see them installed. Was that the public service was very bad and poor, so nobody was cleaning the drainage system in the street. So the street was overflowing. But even with cleaning, it can happen. So he is now independent. He can enjoy his life inside with his family while all others are suffering in the neighborhood. So now it's really time to take action. And that is what we all have to do, because climate change is real. Heavy rain is real. And the only question you have to take is, which path will you choose? Is it the left one, or is it the right one? The right one, by the way, this photo is taken from the SMRT in Singapore to protect the metro station. The glass front at the right side is a street level. There is a street. And these barriers are temporarily installed to protect the tunnel from being flooded. What you see at the left side of this image. So I can invite you now to be a part of our mission in Asia by protecting 10,000 buildings against the damage of flooding before 2030. And if you like, because it's just about information today, you can get exclusive flood protection tips from flood experts. So it is a kind of newsletter once a week. We inform, you can scan it, you can take out, now it's time to take out your mobile phones and scan the link. And I think my team will also put the link into the chat. https://thefloodexperts.de/newsletter. There you can grab it from and you can scan it. We will inform about webinars, about the podcast. There's just before this event, I recorded a podcast, and I just have to do it this way. I will show it in a while again. That is a flood protection secrets podcast. So for all those who like to listen to podcasts, you can go to Amazon or to Apple, or what is it there? Now all these platforms for podcasts, and look for flood protection secrets. That is also possible. But this one, I think I have to make myself. I move to the left lower corner. Just scan it if you like to, and then we can stay in touch, and you don't miss anything. We also published the roadshow when I'm doing a roadshows within Asia. So for whether I travel to South Korea, Japan, hopefully soon, and in the Middle East, then you know where the dates are. So it's easier to coordinate meetings. Also perhaps with universities, I'm open for that. And Dr. Gibran Kwati, I mentioned already the Texas University before. So with the Hamad bin Khalifa University in Doha, I'm in touch with one professor. I'm open for that, also for comments. And don't miss this QR code if you like to. that leads to the weekly newsletter. And yeah, always think about that flood protection is a solution that can protect you from the danger of heavy rain and flooding. And this flooding is a real source that is a real danger that becomes worse and worse. And don't speak about the worst flooding. Always expect that the next flooding is worse, but there are solutions to protect yourself. And that is what you can do. It is not hopeless. Yes, it is about investing money, but the investment pays off with the first flood, and you can use it up to 100 years with good maintenance, of course. And that is what Qatar Foundation has decided to do for Doha Education City. I thank you very much. I end my presentation here. Sorry, that was 10 minutes later than expected, but I hope it was understandable. And now I'm open, Dr. Gibran, for questions. And thank you very much. And as always, stay safe and flood free.
Thank you, Dr. Klippe, for your wonderful insight and sharing your experience and sharing the case study specifically in Qatar. It is very important for the modern and new cities. Now I would like to invite all the participants, if they have any question or curiosity, whether they want to ask a question, even they can write in their chat box, or even they can directly interact by unmuting their mic. I would welcome anybody who have a question. Please come. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, Varka, please ask your question.
Regarding the flood barrier, is there we can see the barriers that were there in the picture. So is there a specific length that is made for that a particular flood barrier is of this length?
Good question. No, it is not.
Because the intensity of the flood, the water, you cannot predict that. It can be, if you have, for example, you are putting a 7 feet barrier, but it can be up to 10 or 12 feet.
Correct. So every barrier is designed individually. That means that is why before anybody is buying flood barriers, the people need to do a technical inspection or an engineering assessment, even a project assessment. So some assessments, and there's also one criteria, and you mentioned it already, that is a height, the flood protection height. And the higher the water goes, the higher is the water pressure. So perhaps you remember when you were swimming, and so we were all learned. I learned in a swimming pool, with my parents brought me there, and I got these inflatable, what was it? I think it was not pink, orange inflatable rubber things here, these wings that kept me floating. And I didn't want to wear them because I said, I'm not a baby. And my mother said, okay, learn swimming, then you don't need them anymore. And then I realized I was able to dive. And the deeper I went, the more pain I had in my ears. And that is the water pressure. And that means the higher the water column is, the more powerful the flood is to enter into your door, to burst the windows, to demolish doors, like the Incredible Hulk, really like that. I've seen these doors. So all barriers are individually designed. I expect these mobile flood barriers, this one with a blue membrane I have shown before, they are pre-manufactured because they are made for, where is it? They are made for, here, there it is. They are made for long distances. And these with a blue membrane. So they come with these elements. The others, the doors, the automatic systems, they are all manufactured exactly depending on the opening width you have and on the required height. Does it answer your question?
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, welcome. One more question.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Please continue with your question. Hello, Aiza, please continue with your question.
I don't hear anything,
Yes.
sorry.
Hello.
Yeah, yes, please continue. We
Yes,
can hear
sir.
you.
I want to ask you a question, and that is, what are the types of floods and how do they differ?
What was the second part of the question? What are the types of floods
How
and
do they differ? How do they differ, and what is the difference between them?
okay. The types of floods is there are two major things that play a role for engineers. That is, you protect your building in a lateral way. Let's see whether I have a picture. Yeah, I have it here. So this one we can take. Hop. This one. That is the parking house of the. You must put me on spotlight or you put me on speaker's view, then you can see it better a little bit. Huh? These demounted flood barriers, first, they are individually cut for the opening width. We discussed the height, the protection height. First, it should be 600 millimeters, and then the customer, we agreed to increase it to 180 because of the slope of the territory. So the question now is, will the water directly flow from here to the barriers, or will it laterally flow along the street? If it is along a street, then it is a lateral flow, and that depends in engineering. You know the velocity that this curve goes like that. For linear flow and also for turbulent flow, it is more like that. It's bulky, but the speed of the velocity at the frontier at the end is always zero. Then that is not much challenge for the barriers. The only thing is a hydrostatic pressure. I mentioned that from the swimming pool example before. But if you are at the end of the street, you are the last building, and that is exactly the last building, and now the wave is coming and hitting your construction. In this particular case, you have a frontal impact, and then we shorten the flood barriers to make them more stiff. And that is why an engineering assessment is always necessary to do that. These barriers are also certified by the world's biggest insurance company, FM Global, from the USA. And they make laboratory tests and flood impact, floating debris impact tests with a 40-kilogram wooden plank, always hitting the barrier. And then they test, is it still watertight? Because to have flood barriers like that, you might say, oh, it's beautiful. But what if the disaster is coming? That is different. So there is another flooding scenario, that is a tsunami. For a tsunami, I can only tell you, just leave the place if you can. It highly depends on the structure of the building. Of course, cheaper buildings made by wood or cheap material or very tiny walls, they will wash away with the waves. They don't stand. They will be destroyed. And with them, the barriers. But as long as the building stands, our barriers will stand. They are made for that. They are made to withstand the water pressure. Yeah. So that is why we differentiate, or we distinguish between a lateral flow of water or a frontal flow of water. In the case of frontal flow, we strengthen the elements to make them stronger and stiffer to be prepared for the water pressure. So because it's a combination about between hydrostatic energy and kinetic energy coming from the flowing water.
Thank you so much, sir. Very well explained.
Thank you. By the way, it doesn't play any role where the water is coming from. I don't know whether your question comes from that. Last week, I think it was 1 week ago, I heard a news in Germany that there was terrible flooding in the north of Pakistan. Some villages were flooded because of melting ice from the mountains. Because it was so hot at this time, more than 50 degrees, and the ice was melting in a very short time, very fast. And that created a huge flood. And this flood was enough to flood several villages. At the end of the day, when it comes to flood protection, it doesn't play any role where the water is coming from rainwater, from the icebergs, from the ice, from snow, melting snow. Melting snow will lead to overflowing rivers. So then we talk about overflowing rivers. It doesn't play any role whether there was a snowflake involved or not. Yeah. So it is more important, how do you protect your environment? And that is an individual building or a lot with your flourishing garden, perhaps with a beautiful flowers, your barbecue corner when the friends are coming at the weekend. Yeah, your orchids inside, or here in Germany we have nice tulips like in the Netherlands. Or you redirect the water with these mobile flood barriers, the Nero mobile flood barriers, as an example. Yeah, I mentioned some brand names that at least you have an idea. And then you can redirect it to lower grounds, for instance. Yeah, so these are the different questions you have to ask yourself. Okay?
Yes.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good.
I have a question. How can
Yes.
developing countries with limited resources, developing as well as underdeveloped countries with limited resources, effectively implement flood mitigation strategies?
Oh, that is a very good question. At the end of the day, you have no other choice than to invest and to take the money to invest it in flood protection instead of investing it in repair of damages. Because that is what I see again and again. The hard-earned money is spent to clean up the mess after a flooding incident, clean up the mess, repair what can be repaired, renovate, and for replacement purchases. That means you always repair, you never improve anything. You always go back to where you have been 1 year ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. That is what we have seen at schools in the Philippines and at universities. And since we installed these flood barriers, at least they are not flooded like before once a year. Now they can save the money and spend it for new computers, better education, pay the teachers in a better way, increase the salaries of the staff and whatever. I know that very often these things are not done, but that's the only way. Don't wait until everything is destroyed, because you will get poorer and poorer. By the way, that is also true for the industrialized countries. The only difference is that the industrialized countries, like my country in Germany,
Good evening, sir.
is having the money. Good evening, whoever is talking.
Good
is
evening,
having,
sir. I have a question.
Hello, I'm still answering the previous question. 1 second, please. The only thing is that these countries can start to improve the system to be protected. I know it is very difficult. We have a lot of corruption problems. We have a lot of problems about budgets, because the budgets sometimes are not available. So what I can recommend to all governments over there is, including my own government, before you start thinking about spending money for flood barriers, start with a project evaluation, with a project assessment. You know, I'm a kind of flood protection planner. I plan flood protection, and this plan allows you to find the cheapest and the best solution at the same time. And at the end, you will save money. But that is exactly what the countries most of the time are not doing. They immediately want to spend something, and then they spend the money for wrong technology. There is no maintenance included. There is no training of the staff included. And after 1 year, it is not working anymore. That is what we observe very often. And that is very sad to see for me. That makes me always very sad. Yeah. That is all what I can only encourage you to convince, to contribute, start with a plan. In Germany, my mentor, she has passed away already. Ingrid Heinz was her name. And she was my mentor from Austria, and a very good lady, business consultant. And she always told me, Andreas, before you start doing anything, don't move immediately. Use your brain first. Make a plan for the plan. And that is what I call the project assessment. I'm a flood protection planner. I do plans, but of course these plans must be paid, because when I'm traveling, somebody must pay my ticket. When I'm sleeping, somebody must pay my bed, and I'm also hungry, and my family is also hungry. That is, by the way, the same for all consultants. And Param is smiling in a way. Yeah, but that is the normal way. That saves you a lot of money at the end of the day. And now I stop. I think I answered this question. Didn't I? Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, there was another question from a lady coming in.
Yeah. Good evening. I have a question that what step to take for road protection from flooding? Is this flood barrier useful in road flooding?
In road, you mean road protection? That means along a road to avoid that the
Yeah.
street is flooded? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Is this flood barrier useful in road protection from flooding?
Yes. Yes, you can. You can. I will show you. That's the moment. I'm not in contact with the person who is asking this question. I show you one video. Wait a second. How do I do? I just the best is I put me in spotlight, please. Again, I just take out this one. Okay, I show you a very short video. It's only less than 2 minutes. That is how you can redirect water from flooding a street. So I don't know whether you hear the music, but what you can see is the music is not really important. I muted. What you can see is that these elements, they are made by steel or aluminum as well, up to 1.80 meters. They are interconnected. It's a patented slot system, and that will redirect the water. So you can see at the left upper side, there's a fire hose. It's a simulation. And it shows how fast the barriers can be installed. The height is 0.5 meter in this case. There are already 2, 4, 6 elements installed, and that in less than 1 minute. In less than 1 minute, I think we are talking about 6 meters and so on. It already redirects very well the water. Yeah. However, you can see a little bit at the right side, but most of it is redirected. And if you apply the blue membrane on it, like how I have shown to you in my example for this museum, for this art and the National Convention Center in Doha, then you are almost 100% watertight. And that keeps everything what is at the right side of the street flood-free already. That is one possibility how you can do that. And another possibility is, I stop this one now, that shows there's only less water. And because of these slots, you need the membrane. That's the reason. And also to avoid that the water can go underneath. So I stop this one, and let me show. I think this one is also showing it. There is another way. You can also install it along a street, and you sacrifice one lane of a street, and you can still use the other lane. That is along. You can also do the same thing along a street, and then you use the remaining 2 or 3 lanes, while one lane is sacrificed and used for the barriers. Yeah. So that is the only system for the streets. There are other systems. You have inflatable big plastic bags. You can fill it with water. I know these systems are also available. I don't distribute it because I'm not convinced about it. And we rely on these things because it is much faster to install. The question when it comes to flooding is always, how fast am I able to install the barriers, and how much knowledge do I need to make it in a correct way? Because where is good, that shows how watertight it is. So how fast can I install it, and how much knowledge do you need to have to operate it? Yeah, so mobile flood barriers are a very good possibility to protect it. By the way, you can also do it with lift-hinged floodgates for smaller ways leading to a garage or to a small village. That is also possible. Yeah, but that's the fastest way to do it. And by the way, that was, I think, who was it? That was Vaka Mariam, I think, who asked this question before. How about the length? These mobile flood barriers are pre-manufactured. So there is a stock in Sweden, several kilometers. That means if one city needs barriers like that, they can order it immediately, and with airplane, because it's lightweight, it will be there within 1 week. That is what some cities are doing. They have procured at Newcastle, at the east coast of England, they have procured about, I don't know, 7-10 kilometers or something, several kilometers. And then when the bad weather is coming, they install it and they give 500 meters to this village, 300 meters to the next village, 50 meters to this area, and so on and so forth. And you also learn. With every rain, you learn and you can improve the system. And that is centralized, that is organized by the municipalities. That is also one possibility, especially when it comes to the Department for Works and Highways, how it is called in the Philippines, when it comes to streets. Does it answer your question or not really?
Yeah, okay, and I understood.
Yeah, okay. And thank you.
There's another question in the chat box from Ahmad Azim. He's asking, can we make a water-protected road by using some kind of sustainable material?
That was what I answered to. I don't have this image there, but at the end, the water-protected road, first, there is material available that is a little bit sucking the water from the surface. That is possible. These materials are existing already. Various concrete and asphalt do not allow any, the water stands on it and it's increasing. The best, of course, is always you have a good sewer. That is number one. Then you can use this special material that can take a kind of water load. And the third is you use flood barriers along, like what I explained just before to this question. There's no other way to protect the road. Or you change the whole landscape and urban planning, what is more difficult, especially when the road is already existing. We also here very often we increase the height of the roads. That is made very often. I know that from the Philippines, and I think in Vietnam and Indonesia they also do that. What they very often forget is the people who live at the left and right side of this road and who get all the water masses now, because they transfer the water to the gardens of the people, and suddenly they have flooding. So it's more complex. That is why I always say you need a flood protection planning, a project planning for that. That's what I can answer to it, to this question.
There's another question for you from Farouk. He's asking, can we make a more and more drainage system or dams for controlling flooding? Is it helpful or not? What's your view?
Farouk, can we make more and more? I just read it. More and more drainage systems or dams for controlling flooding. It's helpful or not? Of course, it is helpful. Dams or dikes. What you mean is most probably dikes along the shoreline, for instance, or rivers. Dikes are a very good way. However, they are very expensive. And you need a lot of material. It's not only that you put some sand on it and you make a small mountain there, kilometers long. That will not withstand the water. The water will go through the soil. So it is always a combination between concrete construction. There is sometimes it's steel panels along the creek or the water to the river to stabilize the river or the canal. But the dams, must also be, that is what they do in the Netherlands and in Germany as well. I heard from one example, they, wait a second, where is it? Okay, Hassan, can you put me on spotlight, please? You can if the water is oh, what kind of color is that? Let's make the water blue, huh? Okay, the water is flowing here, and then you have a dam, and the dam goes from here to here, perhaps. So, and on the top, it looks like that. Oh, wait a second. That is not good. What I said, what I did. So it looks like that. But if in the future the situation is changing, then you cannot add anything anymore if you haven't built the base already strong enough, because this additional masses will be too heavy for the whole dam. It will not work. That is why people already think about it. That means they make it wider. They make it, instead of like that, they do it like that already. That means they make the dam wider than they need, because they say in 100 years, I will need it. And our grandchildren have no chance to increase the height of an existing dam. You cannot do that, because there is the end on the top. It is like you have a high-rise building, and it's the end with a small top antenna on it. You cannot make it higher. So that is one thing. And what was the other one? More drainage system. More drainage system, yes. It is always good to have a good drainage system. However, the thing is, where do you pump the water to? We are currently in touch with several authorities in the Middle East, especially in the Emirates, where we discuss the pumping system organization. Because normally the cities have pumping stations, and the pumping stations shall pump the sewage water. We don't talk about the potable water, what you need when you take a shower and you flush your toilet, or you cook and things like that. We talk about the dirty water, the gray water, and that is where the public sewer comes in. And this water will be pumped to wastewater treatment plants, if you have any, but very often people don't have, especially not in lower developed countries or countries under transition. So they pump it to the sea. That is why the sea becomes dirty, but that's another question. And that only works with pumps. And if these pumping stations are also flooded because of there's no electricity, and then the pumps are not working anymore, nothing will pump. Nobody will pump the water through the pipes. That means your drainage system is good for nothing. And that happened in the past. That happened in Metro Manila. That happened in Dubai. That these pumping stations did not work. And that is why you have to think about all the pumping stations and protect them first. In flood protection, I call it first line of defense, second line of defense, third line of defense, etc. You have several lines of defense how to protect a municipality and a village. Yeah, and yes, you can make more drainage, but you must think about who is pumping, where are the pumping stations, and where do you pump it to? Because once everything is saturated and you don't have an ocean next to you, and there are no, and your city is at the low level in the catch basin, then you have a real problem. You need long pipes to pump out the water. What is possible, but expensive, but technically possible. Okay? It's helpful. So I show you, one more slide, small video, because I'm sure you didn't see that yet in the past. It's quite amazing. It's also very short. I take myself out, okay, but I'm still here. So that is an automatic system for ramps. We were talking about streets, but very often you have basement parkings, and I want to show you a new day in the metro. And we call it the lady in red. You can feel the warmth of the sun and hear the birds whispering. So such a serene moment can seem to last for the whole day and no need to prepare for anything that might come. So beautiful day. Then the bus comes. Now the fair weather makes it easy for the citizens to use public transportation. And you have seen Our Lady in Red. Miss Stefania is one of these busy citizens who takes a subway to reach her destination. And it looks like something is brewing in the skies. The weather report is announcing some clouds and rainfall. And it starts raining. People are now running like their lives depend on it. And in just a few minutes, a heavy downpour starts, triggering the floods. And this flooding could result in damages that might compromise the operation of the subway, because that's the entrance to the subway. So the good thing is there's a subway has a flood protection system. That's the first line of defense. And this system is we use it for our marketing channels. That is an automatic flip-up flood barrier at the upper entrance, because this ramp leads downstairs to the tunnel, and that is a lower entrance. You can see the escalators behind the barrier. And the third line of defense is a submersible pump, pumping the water over the railing to the environment. At the left side, you can see that very well. So when a few minutes later, when the rain has gone, you can now bring down the automatic flip-up flat barrier. It's very easy to do. You push on it and it's down. And at the top, you still wait because the environment is still surrounded by rainwater, and you wait until this rainwater has been pumped away with a drainage through the drainage or sewer system, or is evaporating. And then once the flood water has completely subsided, you can lower the barrier at the same time. And the people can operate, the metro can operate as usual. Now the sun shines again like nothing happened. And you have not to spend any money, and the citizens and Miss Stefania remain safe and dry inside the subway. Business is back as usual. And Miss Stefania also is safe and calm in the subway. And all were protected by these alarm automatic flip-up flood barriers. We made that for one potential customer when we were discussing about subways, and that is how it works. And I mentioned it. So you see, you can protect already the whole parking place area with the buildings behind, and that works with buoyancy force. We are simulating it now. Normally, of course, you need more water. The barrier flips up. And you are flood protected. Okay, this one we don't need at the moment. Wait a second. Where's my mouse? Here. Okay, good. Yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you. Perhaps it's interesting because you have never seen it before. So that gives you some ideas what is possible and what is not possible. Everything needs an investment, but it pays off with the first flood. If you don't do anything, you will be flooded again and again. And perhaps you remember my first slide when I talked about climate change and the increase of 1.9 degrees of the average temperature in the oceans. You can do what you want. They are still hot, they are warm, they are hot, and the water will evaporate and then it will rain. And if at the same time the jet stream is slowing down its intensity, you will see more rainfall at your location. Wherever, if you are in America, in Australia, in Africa, in Europe, or in Asia, even in the desert countries, like in the Gulf, like in Kuwait. One participant was from Kuwait, from Qatar, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Muscat, and so on. And of course, in India, our Indian friends know that very well, unfortunately. Dr. Gibran,
Yes,
are you
is
with
there any further question from the participants?
Pardon, say it again.
Is there any further question from the participants? They can come up, please.
Oh, I got a thumbs up from Mohammed Bilal Arif. Thank you very much. He's reading the
Okay.
book.
So I have a curiosity to you. I would like to ask you, for the cities like in India, which are almost unplanned and there's less chance to deal with any form of change in the demography. So what do you suggest for such cities which are already overcrowded and they have budget also?
Yeah, so definitely you need a budget, but the thing is, there's always a budget available. So it's not that there's no budget. The first thing what I always would start with is make a plan for the plan. Start with an evaluation, and Vaka Mariam is smiling. She remembers that I said that already at least 5 times today. Yeah, it's always the same thing. Unfortunately, these countries in Southeast Asia, in East Asia, in South Asia, in India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, they don't provide money for services, for engineering services, for brain work. They provide money for 5 kilometers of street, for a bridge, for a tunnel, for a pumping station. But they don't want to spend money for those people who tell them how to design it. And that is necessary. There must be a switch in the communities, and then everything is relatively easy. The Qatar Foundation example, what I've shared to you before, that was this. That was from my presentation. This case study, what I've shown to you, and you remember all these breathtaking buildings. That is this one, yes. Is it this one? Yeah. These breathtaking buildings. When I started to talk to them, they gave me a list from the procurement. And then I had a look on that and I realized the design was wrong. It didn't fit. And they forgot entrances. Other entrances did not exist anymore. So the height was sometimes not the correct one. So what we did is we re-engineered everything for all these buildings. In total, all these buildings I showed to you, we have protected. And I was personally there and makes the site visits. And I remember I needed new new rubber shoes, because of all the kilometers, and especially the Texas University and Fatima Uzi. Yeah, you remember when we were there in November, December, I made you run around. I think that were two kilometers at least just to surround this, or even more, the Texas University. So you need the plan first to come up with a solution, and after this planning, and that is relatively cheap, you can do that within 1 week. If the people hire me, for instance, that takes, I always say, I need 1 week to tell you where to go and how to go. It does not mean that there is a technical final solution on the table, but you know how to do it, with what kind of manpower you have to do it, how long it will take you, and an approximate budget. You know, you need for a city, you need $1 million, or you need $10 million, or you need $100 million. That is what I can tell you right away. Then comes the next stage with the engineering assessments, when it comes, let me say, to the protection of a hospital. Yeah, so take the biggest hospital in your city, and imagine that the director wants to protect the hospital. The question is not how much. I cannot tell you. I even don't know how many buildings you have. I don't know the topology. I don't know, is there a slope? Is it a catch basin? What kind of operation do you have? Where's the next street? Is there a tunnel? Yes or no? All these things must be investigated. That is why you do an engineering assessment and you plan it well. The same for an airport. An airport cannot be protected just with a finger snip. That is like creating an airport, like building a building. So everything starts with consultation, and that is what you need. You need a budget to pay the engineers and who consult you. What we do is when we do that, in our case, I have 2 of my seniors with me. So we are 3 people. Perhaps there is an admin with us for the protocols and these things and taking photos. And then we sit together with the customers or with the potential customers, with public servants, governmental agencies. And I always say I need 1 week. But you must spend time with me. If you are not around and I'm only sitting alone in the room, then I cannot help you. So these things are possible. And for me, it is the only way to do it. I met the president of the Philippines, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., 2 years ago at the EU-ASEAN summit in Brussels, Belgium, 2 years ago. And I could talk to him several times. It was very kind. And he invited me to the Malacañang presidential palace. But until now, we don't have a meeting because then the daily life comes in. Oh, sorry, the schedule doesn't fit. We don't have time. Come back later. That makes it, of course, difficult to discuss a plan for a strategy for a whole country or a city or a municipality. And because these things are so difficult, that is why I recommend to the people, wherever you live, protect your house first, protect the company first you work for, to protect your job, and then think about the environment. It is a long, long way in flood protection because it is a niche market, but unfortunately you are flooded again and again every week and every month and every year again. And I'm quite sure next week, there will be a major flooding somewhere in the world and we will all be shocked again and history repeats itself, unfortunately. But now you know at least how to handle it. You know there is a technical solution, and I told you don't go for the technical solution, make the plan first. Flood protection. I consider myself as a flood protection planner. It's far away from any procurement. Always think about that. By the way, whatever you do in life, I can just repeat my mentor, make a plan for the plan.
Yeah, that's a nice suggestion from you, sir. If there is no further question from the participant or further curiosity from anyone, now we are heading towards the conclusion of our webinar.
I have a question.
Yeah, yes, please.
Yeah, so hi sir, it's an honor to talk to you. I have few questions regarding family security. As we were talking about plans, different plans, I was just wondering that how can families create effective emergency plan for severe flood situations? Or how can families plan evacuation routes in case of a flood?
Okay.
And one last question is that if there is an emergency situation, should we have an emergency kit prepared for a flood? If yes, then what should be in that kit? The thing is, I've been watching a lot of news lately, and where I live, we have a huge river going through our city. So I'm genuinely worried about my family. So yeah, I would like to be prepared for severe situations. Thank you.
Yeah. I didn't get the whole question. The first question I didn't really get. There was something with a sound. Perhaps Dr.
Okay. I'll repeat that. There are basically two questions. That should we have an emergency plan for evacuating if there is a severe situation, and how can families create effective emergency plans for those type of situations? Should there be an emergency kit? If yes, then what should be in that kit?
Yeah, good question. Yes, indeed. You can prepare yourself. So an emergency plan is really what is needed. And I think we even made some. I don't remember. It's a long time. We were talking about that in our company. You can make a kind of emergency plan for your family, for instance. Evacuation means you can go to the second floor if you have a second floor in your house. Or you have a third floor or the rooftop. The rooftop, of course, it's already dangerous. But what you can prepare is a kind of emergency bag, like a backpack with the most necessary things. That is some batteries, a pouch, for instance. Some cookies for eating, water bottles. In every household, normally there are water bottles available that at least they are ready to grab. What we always say when it comes to evacuation, don't forget the pills for the grandmother and the grandfather and whoever needs pills or medicaments, diapers for the babies. In case of a need, it works without diapers, but it's better to have some plastic bags, or for the kids even, we recommend bring some toys or something that they can spend the time. And don't forget that after a while, your smartphone will run out of power. And that means it is not helpful anymore. That is why a good old porch will help you and to make some light. So this kind of plan you can do, every family can do. That is not difficult. You write down the 10 most important subjects, and that should be at one place. What is always recommended is that your passport and important documents are ready to grab. We had one employee who lost his home long ago, and he said, "I don't have these documents anymore. Everything was washed away and flown away with a flood." These things should be copied. You can make copies and save them online in the cloud. All these things can be done because it's very painful and time-consuming to renew all these documents. The diploma from your university, for instance. Yes, you can ask your university, but you have to prove who you are. And how do you do that if your passport is not available anymore? So it's never ending. Documents about the property of your lot, of your building, and all these kind of things. So you can make photocopies of it. So just take your phone, make a copy, a photo, save it in the cloud at a place where you can always find it. Be careful with confidential documents that there is a password or that it is protected, that not everybody can have access. And be prepared with some necessary parts for evacuation. For a municipality, we also recommend that, but very often the people don't do that because they always say, "Oh, the sun is shining, next time it will not be dangerous." But insist or just propose it and work it out. Evacuation plan for a municipality means perhaps you have 300 people in your street. So where will these people go to? Number one. What if there are already 2,000 people and the place is overcrowded? What will happen with you? And always, is there enough water? Water is the most important thing what you need during an evacuation situation. You can live without food for several days. There's no problem with that. Even during 2 weeks, you will not die. But without water, it's dangerous. You need clean water, definitely. And the most important, medicaments. And to avoid a disaster, think about toys and medicaments for the older people and the toys for the younger people, or the other way around. Depends. So make these plans. That is what we also, by the way, recommend to our customers. But very often they're only interested in procurement. How much is a square meter? I don't know. I don't sell by square meters. We sell solutions. And these people never think about the people like you. They don't think about the people, the citizens, the employees. Yeah. And that is why that is a very good question. Think about the evacuation and establish these plans. It's not that difficult to do. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you. I think the wonderful question and answer session has come to an end. And I'm really thankful Dr. Klippe who has given wonderful answer and the best possible answers to all the curiosity and the question asked by the participant. Now our session is going to be concluded. I would like to invite Mr. Asfar Ali Khan, the president of Aligarh Renaissance, to come and give vote of thanks and to conclude the webinar. Please, Asfar, come and join.
Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, you are.
Thank you everyone to join us. It's my honor and pleasure to deliver a vote of thanks on the behalf of Aligarh Renaissance. First of all, I would like to thank you, our guest speaker, Mr. Andreas, who delivered the lecture, beautiful lecture. And thank you, sir, for your insightful. You remember me? We met at Qatar maybe 6 months before. You gifted me this book. I think you remember.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for your insight and informative session.
Welcome.
Thank you everyone to join us from the different part of the world. I hope you enjoyed this session and you got many insightful from our guest speaker. And I would like to thank you, RS Flood team, Arsin, David, Alvin, Stephanie, and Fatma thank you for your support. Was essentially in making this webinar happen. Heartfelt thank you to the Aligarh Renaissance team, Dr. Jibran Qadri, Fazal, Afsara, Khatija, and Asma. Your hard work and teamwork were key to organizing the event and making it successful. Thank you all the participants for joining and asking great questions. Your involvement made this webinar interactive and valuable. Thank you all again for making this event a success. We look forward to your support and participation in future events. At the end, I would like to tell to all the participants, you will get the participation certificate within 2 days. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Have a great day. Good night.
Thank you and good night. And who wants to stay in touch, scan the QR code if you haven't done it yet. And I wish you also a wonderful night and a good afternoon and good morning wherever you are in the world. And Asfar, thank you very much. Hope to see you very soon again in Qatar. And Dr. Jibran Qadri, see you hopefully at the Texas University in Qatar or here in Europe. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Have a good
Thank
day,
you.
and as always, stay safe and flood free.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.